This is for the planks that are going to go on the deck patio. And what I did was I just cut out 11 by 3/4 of an inch planks out of illustration board. I'm trying my best to do everything in this room box with things I already have. So I don't have the wood that I could use for planks, so I had to make my own. And what I'm doing is, I'm lucky enough though that the illustration board has gray on the back because I want to make it look like beach weathered wood. So to have a gray base works for this project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some striated lines for when I go to paint these to weather them. Some of the color will fall, the dark colors will fall into the striations, the cut lines, and I'm doing it very lightly so that it has a little bit more of the look of wood rather than a flat piece of paper. I'm doing it very, very lightly and varied. And once I paint it, you'll be able to see what I was going for. I don't know if you could see that. If you can. Lines, very light. I don't want to make them too deep because I don't want to literally start the paper peeling off from the bottom. But that's what we have. And now I'm going to just do that to all of them. And there you go. Okay, now we're going to lay down the planks for the deck, which was previously the patio, and I have changed my idea for this room box. It is now a studio on the beach. I had previously wanted it to be like an old warehouse studio, but I decided that I would prefer to have my art studio on the beach. So I made planks, which are going to be considered or painted to look like wood. And I'm going to start gluing those down. And then after I glue it down, then I'm going to do some dry brushing over it to age them and make them look like actual wood planks. I'm going to start from the left and move to the right. But since it would be easier for me to work side to side rather than up and down, I'm going to swing this around. And I'll start, and I'm going to make one edge fully flush, and then if there's any overhang on this side, I will just cut that after everything dries. So here's my glue. I've got many glue bottles over here. And I'll start gluing them down. Now I am going to leave very little space in between each one so that it does look like a deck and not one solid piece of wood. So I'm gonna leave a 1/16 of an inch. I like to place it and then slide it into space so that the glue itself smears. And so you can see how much space that I left in between, as if the planks were put down, and as they weather and as they age, they kind of shrink because of all the moisture that comes out of them, as it would for real wood. So if you ever been on a boardwalk, you know that an old aged boardwalk has larger spaces between it, probably than when it was put down. Now this last board is going to be short, and I didn't listen to my own advice where I had said with the wood floor that you start in the middle and work out, and I should have done that. I should have found the center and then everything would be even. But of course I didn't do that. I did not take into account that the extra spaces in between the planks was going to take up what little difference this makes for the end. So I have this much overlap that I'm going to have to cut off. It's not terrible, but it could have been better. So already they're looking like shiplap boards. So I'm kind of happy with that. Oh, I just gave myself a paper cut. That hurt. And now I'm just going to put some heavy books on top of this while it dries, so that it dries flat. And we'll come back and work on painting it to make it look old. Okay, now this is the deck. What I did after I glued it all down and it dried, I cut a few slivers out of the edges of each plank, or most planks, to just give it a little bit of, when I go back in and I paint it, to just give it more of a look of worn wood. I wanted it to look more natural. I'm going in and painting each gap between the boards gray, so that that white does not show. It's very obvious. Probably, to make it even more lifelike, I should have painted the illustration board first, a dark color, so then you would be able to see them easier, but I didn't do that. So we'll work with what we have, and hopefully when we do the finish on the planks, you'll get that feeling of individual planks. We'll see what we can do to achieve that. There's always another way, right? Always another way to achieve the objective. Now on to actually aging these. What I created was a mixture of gray and dark blue to make a sea kind of faded color blue. Let me add a little more gray to that. So keep it a little more in the gray family. And what I'm going to do is dry brush that on, and we'll see how it looks. You know, it's all a test. I like the color, but it's very subtle. But it's not dull, which is what I'm going for. I like that it is a happier looking color. I mean, I was thinking of adding black. I do have it out here, black, but it's not the mood I'm going for, so. And you can actually do any color you want. There's so many ideas for something like this to achieve the same thing. I'm going for a water-washed beach look, but if that's not what you're into, go for a darker color palette. Pick darker colors. I'm just trying to get a salt eroded kind of look. And I don't know if you can see the lines that I put in earlier. I had thought that I was going to put a darker color so that they would settle in those lines, but the lines really are very fine, and I don't think it would have made a difference, and it would have just started making the whole thing look too dark, much darker than I wanted. Now this is only a first layer. We're going to do a couple of layers of different colors and different shades, including gray. Oh, we got a little too much of that blue in there. Okay, now the next color I'm going to do is a gray again, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. That's like a real dry brush. That's what I'm looking for. A little bit more gray on my palette. I need to buy new paint. My paints have been sitting around a little too long. If you get it into a blotch on the piece and it's a little bit more than dry brushed, then just go in there and smush it out. I'm really liking how this area looks, so let's continue.
smush that out. Was a little bit too much.
And it dries a lot more subtle than when it goes on. I'm noticing that. So I think we're going to go back in with a lighter gray on top of this and get those highlights more of what I had in mind. Now, again, like I said, those dried very light, very dark, so I'm going to now add a little gray to my white. Here we go. Mix that up. These little palettes sometimes are. And then I'm think once we do this one, we'll do another even lighter coat. And I think okay, I think, again, it was very subtle, so I'm going to go in with white with only a hint of gray. Pull it from the napkin, it's so saturated. And we're going for sun bleached, so hopefully this is picking it up. You may not realize it, but those lines that I put in are helping create these striations along with the white paint. I still want to make those in between the planks. I want to make that darker just for those to stand out. I'll figure out a way to do it, even if I have to take a very thin lined, here we go, a thin brush. Let's see if this works. I'll take a color that already exists and see if I go through. No, see, it'll still get, it's too fine. It'll still get on the, I don't know. Let me look. Let me see. Take a little bit of black. It's all an experiment. Oh, I think I can do it. And I see I'm going in between, and then I could just wipe over the top, and then we'll get a little bit of I'm gonna turn it this way, it'll be easier to do. There we go. I think some of them will be too close together in order to do this. But the brush, this particular area of plank is wide enough that I can get my liner brush in there. That looks better. Let's see how far we can get with this. Okay. Might be a happy accident. Might be. And if I have to go back in and clean up some of the areas, the top, I will do that. Let's put a little bit more water so the paint runs freely. There we go. That's not half bad. It actually makes it look like the plank is not even anyway, so that kind of like works out. I don't know. Let me know what you think. The objective is to make it look like every plank is separate. I think I'm happy now. What do you think? Is enough of a differentiation to know that they're planks? And definitely sun bleached, I think. Hopefully I achieved that. As soon as it dries, we'll put it in place. So here's the final deck in place. And with the new floor and new wall, I think the room is really coming together and I'm pretty happy with it. So the next step in the video series is for me to start creating the furniture. But there was something else I wanted to show you. And here you have the exterior of the box now with the siding. And I'm going to give that the same whitewash finish. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.